When some people look around at how messed up the world is, they conclude that either there is no God or that He is indifferent about the state of things, or even worse, that He is not good or just. But this is a theology of despair, and from it nothing good can come. Others try to ignore the problems around them and deny that there's any tension between the way things are and the existence of a good and caring God. But this is naive theology, and when Christians espouse it, they are rightly criticized for not taking the presence of suffering and evil seriously. Such people also set themselves up for a crisis of faith when they find themselves in a really bad situation. The Bible shows us a third way. You see, it's not biblical to ignore evil and say, it's all good, no problem. Nor is it biblical to say, it's really bad, and therefore no God. Instead, the Bible writers teach us to hold on to both the reality of evil and the goodness of God. The place where these two things meet is in our prayers of lament. One example of this is the prophet Habakkuk, who in dark times prayed like this: "How long, Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Or cry out to you violence, but you do not save? Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? Destruction and violence are before me. There is strife and conflict abounds. Therefore the law is paralyzed and justice never prevails. The wicked hem in the righteous so that justice is perverted." Habakkuk believes that God is good and just, and his faith forms the basis of his appeal for Him to do something about the situation. He knows that violence, injustice, and wrongdoing are inconsistent with the character of God. But rather than throwing up his hands in unbelief or ignoring that these things are going on, he asks God two questions. Number one, how long? And number two, why? This means that when you are troubled by something in life that is not as it should be, you should bring this to God and share the conflict you are experiencing. Appeal to Him to see and act according to His nature. Such prayers indicate a real relationship between the prayer and the righteous God to whom he prays. We may not always get the answer we want as soon as we would like, but there is power and help for those who pour out their questions to God, believing that in His time, God will act, and that one day He will make all things whole. And perhaps our prayers of lament will be one of the things He uses to bring that about.